everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Dark Descent into Horror. As always, my name is Amanda. I am the owner operator of AGP, and today we're going to have a very special guest. His name is Justin. He is the man who has introduced me to ARGs and is the creator of the Phobos ARG. So, what is the Phobos ARG? Well, it's something that we started doing this season on the Dark Descent into Horror, and I instantly fell in love with it. Having to do puzzles, which I didn't know I actually liked to do because I always was like, puzzles, ooh, frustrating. I always thought puzzles would make me feel really stupid because I'm not the brightest star in the sky. So she left me. My dog left me. Oh no. But he will be joining us here shortly. He's on his way home from work. So as soon as he can get home from work, he shall be joining us. So let me introduce you again to the Phobos ARG real quickly.
Where does it all start? Sometimes here.
Honey!
Fried potatoes,
This is an illustration of your nervous system.
Let you in on a big secret.
It's been a while since I've I have somebody here.
Phobos. In no time at all,
Hold on. It is time. That's not what I wanted. I want dish. Now, if only his mic gets unmuted.
Hello.
Hi, Justin.
Hi there.
You're just as creepy as in the videos.
Oh, great.
So, now you want to be a part. Now that Justin's
Oh.
here, now you want to be a part of the video.
Perito. How cute.
This is Fizzgig.
Hello. Hi there. A little creature. I have a dog of my own.
What do you got?
He's a golden doodle.
Aww. She's a terror upon humanity. Your question, what are you afraid of? Everybody should be afraid of this. You're on the keyboard. I know you don't care, but you're on the keyboard. I know. Here, because it's a special episode and we have a special guest, no one even has to redeem one this time. We just have one. Watch how I make my dog disappear. Bye.
Whoa.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the man who introduced me to ARGs, the ever-lovable Justin.
Hello there. Thanks very much for having me on.
Thank you so much for introducing me to a world that I didn't even know existed.
Oh, it's wonderful. There's so many interesting facets of this medium.
Well, one, I didn't even know I would like doing puzzles because I always thought that puzzles would make me feel like I'm the most dumbest thing on the face of this planet. But it was very intriguing. And then, like, I'm looking at some of these symbols and stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea where to look. But does anybody realize how very Knights of the Templar these symbols kind of look like?
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah. Some of the symbols that you have, because I watched this, I used to watch this show, I think it was like called The Curse of Oak Island. And a lot of your symbols have a lot of similarities to the old medieval Knights of Templar symbols.
Oh, that's interesting. That was certainly not intentional. There's a lot of like religious iconography I tried to pull in. crosses and the like. So I wonder if maybe that's where the overlap is. That's interesting. I haven't heard that comparison.
Well, I did. I win. Point for me. So I have to ask, where did the entire idea of Phobos come from for you?
So I was it was COVID-19. It was 2020 era, and school was shut down. I was in high school at the time, and I was going on a
I'm so
walk.
really old.
Uh, uh, I was going. Well, people think I'm 30. Apparently, I was talking to someone, and they were like, "Oh, you're like 28, 29." I was like, "I am certainly not." No, so I was walking my dog, the aforementioned dog, and I passed. I was listening to, for whatever reason, some old Coronet commercials, and they were all like, "How to control your emotions," and those are real. Like there's some very alarming. I don't know if you've ever seen the old like PSAs that they play in schools, but they're very uncomfortable. Many of them deeply homophobic as well, and not not great. But there's a lot of like, oh, here's how to fit into society and how to be the perfect American citizen. And as I was doing this, there was a pest control truck that had just the most inflammatory like, we'll destroy pests from your life. We'll remove pests. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if someone tried to do that for an emotion. And then I went home and I sort of sat there and wrote the whole thing. Um, it really wasn't intended to be a thing that went out even publicly. Really, it was mostly just to see if I could, to entertain myself. Uh, I had typically built a lot of like prop and costume stuff. I built a lot of animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's, and got a decent amount of interest from those. And then I wanted to see if I could make something that was fully and wholly mine, and I did for fun, and then people seemed to take interest.
Oh my God. Your pictures on Instagram of the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff that you did is just absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Like this guy, he's no joke, guys. Like he's brilliant. Let me show you.
It's very
Look at
kind of you to say. I appreciate that.
this is the coolest and creepiest costume, by the way, out of your Phobos thing.
Oh, that was a blast to build. It was very time consuming, but yeah, I had to use a lot of liquid latex, a lot of like molding, which I'd never done before, but it was a great experience.
Oh, look at you graduating.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Like, look at this. Look at this. Look how brilliant you are.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It was such a blast. I love to make stuff.
Which
I'm still doing it.
I can see why people do think that you're older than what you are. One, the music that you use.
Oh,
You're
I do.
taking stuff out of my era as a childhood and from my parents' era as from their childhood.
I do have I guess a touch of an antiquated taste.
And I have to admit, I have to ask, are you an actual fan of ABBA? Because you like ABBA a
Oh,
lot.
very much. Not certainly not as much as you would assume, but I do like ABBA. That whole story, without going into extreme detail, I don't know what questions you have prepared. I don't want to get ahead of us.
Honey,
But
I don't prep anything. Everything just comes.
oh, fair enough. I That whole storyline with the ABBA stuff and the angel and that idea came before Phobos. And it was I get pretty bad panic attacks. That was like a panic attack induced dream I had, uh, pretty explicitly actually. Like the Angel and the Mamma Mia songs and all of that was like pretty verbatim. Not the character, but like the situation was pretty much verbatim, like a nightmare I had, like a recurring nightmare I had when I was having some bad panic attacks, and I wanted to oust it in some way into a film or series. So that was something I just kind of had in the back of my head, and I don't know why it was an ABBA song. I used to watch Mamma Mia as a kid with family, and I don't know if it was my subconscious or something throwing it at me in a tough mental moment, but something about that juxtaposition was the right balance of silly and unsettling to me, which is what I try to strike. So yeah, that's what led to that. And I guess I don't know. I guess some self-destructive part of me wanted to get copyright struck or something. I don't know.
Well, one, I'm a huge ABBA fan. So
Oh,
like
good.
there was points there you used enough music to where even if I ended up having to mute it, I was still kind of either mouthing the words or singing the words.
That's good.
Not that I'm a singer. So people could still kind of figure out what's going around. And if the video had the closed caption on it, then I could use the closed caption so the music could, you're not helping. You're really not helping. I'm I'm going to have him get Jonathan C. Eldridge to eat you if you don't stop.
Oh no.
Which there's a character that is fascinating because at first you're like, I don't trust him. Then you're like, now I want him to win. And he's kind of got a dark, sexy thing about him.
I do love Jonathan Eldridge. He was so, again, for really the first character I made that was my character. He's I've always liked, again, he's a classic. He's basically like an old late night host, and his comedy and his speech pattern is based on obviously the transatlantic accent.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an old comedian called Tom Lehrer.
Yes.
Who I tried to sort of mimic his delivery, which is a very dry, sort of stilted, where it sounds like he's being sarcastic all the time, but because he does it so much, you can't really tell if that's just how he talks. And that mask was so fun to build. The eyes are animatronic, so the eyebrows aren't drawn on at all. Those are just completely radio controlled. I'm actually like, that's me in there. The high school me is standing in there balancing on a joystick to control the eyebrows, and then the eyes themselves, the pupils, are hand drawn 2D animation, which took a very long time, and I will not do again because it was very time consuming. One of my recent short films, Burnout, I partnered with an incredible artist, Raphael Azar, who I work with a lot now, and they helped me do the animation on that one because I don't like it. I can do it in a pinch. It's very time consuming, and I'm not very good at
it. Well, Jonathan C. Eldridge is absolutely an amazing character. I kind of had a feeling that was you behind that, but that's okay. And I don't know. My favorite thing out of the entire series is when you took the Broadway song "Anything Goes."
Yeah.
And you totally transformed it. And I took it, and because I can't afford the soundtrack yet.
Sure.
And I took it and I recorded it, and then I took it out of the thing, and now I have it on a playlist and I listen to it a lot.
Rad. Well, there you go.
Like, I'm obsessed with your rendition of it. Like, I'm just
Thank you.
who is this guy? He doesn't look my age, but he keeps picking key things that I really enjoy, like Broadway musicals and crap. He really needs to get out of my head. It's creepy as shit.
So I love Broadway stuff. I do, as much as I loved doing that song because it was really fun. It was sort of anachronistic in Phobos season 1 because that song is not from the era that series is referencing, which is
Broadway
fine
can
because it
stand
works.
every era, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's like a general. I don't know. I probably could have used something from like "Singing in the Rain," which there was a complicated clue. On that note, there was one thing that wasn't really. I don't know how much it comes across when you're watching it after the fact. The series, just what I like to tell people about it is there's that moment where the detective character Tim is running, and then he falls, and it's the vertical video, and he buries the thing.
Right.
So that was, people actually had to go drive and find that. That code.
That's a little bit of a drive for me since I'm in Ohio.
No, I know for sure. But when it was, when videos were coming out weekly and people were playing along, that was a really unexpected thing to have actually work, which was that people did, like strangers, drove to California and dug that up, which is really cool. Like that's incredible. Like I've never, that level of like interest and engagement in a story is just, it's something I like about this medium. It's something that can really only work in something where the audience is an active participant in the story. Hence things like the Google form or in the playable video game, and that in chapter 2, and that took eons to code because I'm I don't know how far into it you got the video game, but that was, oh, I have never coded before. I did not like doing it.
I couldn't. Nope. Nope. I've
Yeah.
seen people do videos of them trying to code games or to make mods, and I'm just like,
It's a lot. It's so
no,
much info.
no.
It's so much, and I learned Python. I learned how to do it, and I did it. And I mean, I'm proud of that game. I think it's really funny, and there's a lot of good
Great
music in
game.
there that I made it. But I don't know. It was so much like writing the story for the game, figuring how to translate that into code, figuring out the images and the music. And it was a nightmare. Fun though. Yeah, fun.
Oh, well,
Gave me
yeah.
something
I
to do.
mean, everything that we do, whether it's something as simple as me hosting a show to the intricate stuff that you do, all of it's time consuming. Sometimes you're just like, oh my god, but in the end, it ends up being fun. That's
Oh,
why we end up
very.
doing. That's why we end up doing the next episode and the next thing and the next video, is because there's still that love and passion that I think really screams to people. Because through the things that I've seen, because obviously it started off with you sending me a message, me
Mm.
going, yeah, sure, why not? I don't have anything planned. Let's check this out. I don't even know what an ARG is. To researching what one is, to realizing there was so much more than just the stuff in the video. You have stuff in the messages.
Mhm.
There's Reddit forums, there's Instagram, there's actual physical stuff out in the world. There's stuff that I'm like, that was easy to figure out. There is stuff that I'm still trying to figure out. I put a Phobos private thing in my Discord
That's
for
awesome.
people to help me try to figure this crap out.
It's a lot of codes. Some of
It's a
them are
lot of
very.
codes.
Some of them are
I don't
harder
know
than
how many of your
others.
videos I had to stop, slow down, rewind, wait, what, huh, what, dude. I'm old. My brain don't process like that.
That's yeah. I think that's maybe the part of it that I least like is the codes. And so I think there's probably a better way to integrate things. It makes sense story wise because there's supposed to be a character hiding hidden messages,
Mm-hmm.
but I know it's no fun to stop and comb through a video.
It says you. I actually enjoyed it.
Oh, there you go.
Because I actually like sometimes going, wait, did I see that? Did I miss
Mhm.
that? Did I actually see what I thought I saw? Take it, and you finish the video and then you go back and you slow it down. You obviously turn off the sound because the
Mhm.
video sounds weird when you slow it down. But then you're like, oh, I did see that. Or there's like these small little hints, like they're in the news. And the
Yeah,
bar that goes underneath, if you don't slow it down, you miss some really cool little Easter eggs. Some of it's hints, some of it's Easter eggs. It's just really cool. I enjoy that stuff.
it was really fun. Some of the stuff we were able to do, I'm so proud of. I mean, all of it I'm proud of. But like the chapter 2 finale, which is a featured length film, like that was so cool. Like I was a junior in high school, and I got my theater friends together, a bunch of 17-year-olds with an iPhone camera, and we're like, let's make an entire horror movie about Mamma Mia, and it was a blast. And I think everyone did a really good job in it, and everyone tripped and fell a lot in the characters because I didn't know how to film stuff. Um, it was a blast. It was really fun. Definitely, again, things I would have done differently, but it was, you know, with the resources we had, which was, an iPhone and a stick of gum, I think we did a really good job. And it was for the majority of, and I said, oh, I didn't know if it was you in the Jonathan suit or not. The first season was just me doing it the entire time. It was all done on an iPhone. So shot, edited, recorded, special effects, everything, which took a very long, long time. Chapter 2 is still shot on an iPhone. I still don't have a camera from this century. One of my newer films, Dreamy Drive, we shot a portion on film, so I do have a film camera from the early '80s. But I still not. I should not own a camera that exists that newer than 40 years old. But I do
If it
have.
makes you feel any better, Justin, I have a laptop that has dial-up still available on it.
Oh wow! I have an Apple, like an early '90s Apple computer somewhere.
Nice.
I like old, outdated stuff. I mean, within reason. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Now we know why he actually picked AGP to check this out. He likes old and outdated. No.
No, no. No. So I got off track from whatever I was talking about, but it was fun. It was really a great experience trying to put this together with friends, and then getting to work with the voice of the angel monster in chapter 2 is amazing. That's a guy who's Phil, who's actually the lead singer from one of my favorite metal bands. I messaged him and I hired him, and he was into it, which was really cool. And he's got a great
Good
voice.
choice, because oh my god, he can sing.
He's got a great voice. He's an amazing voice.
I'm just like, cool, take me to some abyss, just keep singing.
He's incredible. He's a really, really great voice. He was wonderful to work with and very cooperative, and like with me, me explain. He was very open to me explaining. Oh, it's Mamma Mia, but XYZ.
Well, you can tell him, dude, don't stop singing because you will have women all over you till the day you die.
His band's popular. I think he's got Small Town Titans is the band, and they're great. Yeah, he's awesome.
I will have to definitely find that. I will say this: the feel of horror movie did come across in the finale, because the young girl who played Britta Abraham.
Yeah, that's Mira Laura, who's amazing. She was actually assistant directed that.
Miss, I believe in God, and you're an angel, and I'm yelling at her going, you stupid!
Yeah, it was supposed to feel like campy horror. I wish I could give it, because Mira was great, and I wish I could have given her more to do. I wish I could have given everybody more to work with in that. The guy who plays the main guy in that, Timothy, is my brother, and he's just an incredible actor. They're all incredible actors, and I wish I could have given them like more meaty of a script, or I don't know. We did what we did.
Look,
but
I think it came out great. She was definitely the one that I yelled at the most, because I'm like, yeah, just walk over to the door that magically closed, and at this point, I'm done, I'm out, I'm gone. She's just like, do. And then here comes Zipper Face Monster, and she's like, you're an angel, and I'm going, you stupid, you're going to die.
Yeah, we were going for like old early 80s, late 70s, like John Carpenter knockoff B movies, which I hope came across, because I was definitely like, my two favorite genres, if you couldn't guess, are of course rom-coms and westerns. I kid, musicals and horror movies.
Musicals. I have found a male younger version of me, Fizzy.
Which are very fun. In both of them, I love horror. Goes without saying. It's just. I think something I often tell people about is that you can. I know this is a show talking about horror, so I think one of my favorite things about horror is that you can really use it to track whatever the societal tension is. Early 1900s, you had or late 1800s, early 1900s, you had your Frankensteins, your Draculas, fear of science going too far, fear of a mysterious elite, as unions are rising and workers are being shot down, and the powerful become more powerful. The Gilded Age, where like there's a lot of mystique among the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dracula, your mysterious wealthy barons hiding away in big castles and draining the blood from people, using people for what they're worth. So it's a working man allegory. That's how I see it. And then you go into your 30s and 40s, World War II happens. We get Lovecraft. We get a lot of very brutal, existential, like the world's going to end and we're all going to die.
If
and
only.
Then, oh no. Post-war, the 50s, it's the Red Scare, the Lavender Scare, gay people and communists. Everyone's like, oh, they could be any one of us. So that's that's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's the UFOs attack. That's zombies. It's mindless hordes of people who look like your neighbors trying to invade.
Oh no, honey, that's now. Mindless hordes of people. They are my neighbors.
Oh no. So then you get into the 60s, 70s. Slasher movies very slowly start being introduced. Vietnam happens, and then you see this giant uptick of, stories like Halloween, stories like the original Nightmare on Elm Street in the early 80s, which are all sort of like a they go from a moral like teenagers who don't say their prayers and don't have premarital sex are going to get killed by a zombie into good people who do good things die, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's where you first see the trope of, because that's what people think, you're going to get drafted and you're going to go fight and get killed in a war that doesn't make any sense. So that becomes the societal thinking piece, and the films become, that's where we first get that trope of Jason jumping out of the lake at the end, like evil never dies. There will always be something trying to kill you. This is very grim catharsis of how people are feeling. 90s, you get self-aware horror movies, which is signaling that there's about to be a switch, and then things kind of stagnate. Or no, I take it back. Early 2000s, home invasion movies are huge. So The Strangers, and I'm a big connoisseur of horror movies of every genre, obviously, in every era. The Strangers comes out. Stuff like The Purge. Even what's the one? I just watched it with the camera in the house. It's all done through security footage. There's like 20 of them. Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity. These traditionally gothic things like ghosts and creepy people in masks are suddenly, these are things invading your home, and we're seeing it through security systems, and they're knocking on your door at night. And that's post World War I or post 2001 War on Terror, where it's like you're not safe in your own home. Something's trying to come in and kill you and your family. They're going to hurt your family.
I dare you, Chihuahua. I dare you to try my house.
And then we stagnate for a while, and then as always happens, we get I think the big slump in horror movies, which we're still coming out of. With exceptions, there's good stuff. Cabin in the Woods was good.
Cabin in the Woods was good. The last Evil Dead movie was really good.
I like all of those. Those are fun, but not successful, like marketably. Like the first big, I think, like the next turning point that I think we're still entering is Jordan Peele's Get Out, which is like socially conscious horror, which I think is awesome. I think that's a really interesting direction that we're going to be seeing, where it's just like we have gone from horror as a metaphor for societal issues that no one wants to explicitly name to explicitly naming societal issues and using them as the horror. So the bigotry and racism and systemic injustice is becoming it is a very explicit one-to-one.
Yeah.
This is what's putting characters in the situations where they experience horror, which I think is almost I'm thinking about it now, is kind of a cool revising of the 80s horror stuff of good people just happen to be in situations where they get serial killed, and it's like, no, good people are put into situations where that can happen by corruption, by a corrupt system. And that's really cool. And I don't think we've fully seen I don't think we have a breadth of things from that area, because we just sort of entered it in the last 5 or 6 years. But I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's like we were just actually, a few of my friends and I were just talking about the movie Smile.
Yeah.
And it's not your typical horror movie, and a lot of people thought it'd be just a retelling of the It Follows movie, but it really hits into mental health issues.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like the horror is coming from the relatability of the protagonists, as opposed to, Steve Joe, all-American boy who's going to go punch a zombie, which is a lot of, and I like zombie. I'm not knocking any form of horror movie. I just think that, particularly this, which feels more clever to me, because it is at one time, here's an explicit portrayal of it. I think a really good example is The Invisible Man, the 2019.
Yeah, that remake, with the suit and everything, that was really well done.
It's a very
y'all should have started with that than that really crappy mummy movie with Tom Cruise.
Yeah. I am one of the people who really think the MonsterVerse could have been, or the Universal Dark Universe could have been really cool if they had done it in any good capacity. I like the idea that Dr. Jekyll pops up in that movie. I really do like that. But they also do my favorite cinematic universe trope, which is a bunch of stuff in a room. they really like doing it. They really like doing a bunch of stuff in a room. The end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, Sinister Six is a bunch of stuff in a room. The Mummy is a bunch of stuff in a room.
Yeah. It's almost like, hey, we're going to put a bunch of stuff in a room. Okay, well, this is the last of this series. We're done.
Like, I think people forget how slow of a it is Marvel they're trying to chase after, and I think that a lot of, as a movie guy, I love a lot of the Marvel movies. I don't love all of them.
Even though, isn't it kind of funny that they wanted to do the Dark Universe, yet Universal already kind of did?
Yeah, they did.
Because, we've had Frankenstein has met Dracula and the Bride of Frankenstein, and all they've already interacted with each other. Frankenstein and the Wolfman, and I'm just like,
I maintain that
you realize you already did all this, right?
I think there are very smart ways to reinterpret the classic monster movies. Invisible Man being one, even though it's not officially a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake, The Shape of Water is incredible, and it basically is. It's not a secret that is a Creature from the Black Lagoon.
No,
riff.
as a person who that is her favorite Universal monster. No, that is a Creature from the Black Lagoon.
And Del Toro knows this and loves those movies, and I think he's actually doing a Frankenstein movie, which will be really interesting to see how he handles that. So, I like the reinterpretations of these kind of mythical characters to tell stories with Invisible Man about abuse, or with and trauma, and then with Shape of Water about like unconditional love, and I think that's really cool. At the same time, I do think there is room for fun, campy Dracula meets Frankenstein. Like, I think, I think there is two things can be true at once. I point to the Godzilla franchise where you have, Godzilla versus Kong, which I love, even though it's objectively not the most, it's not. There is no like social. I'm not watching that to feel catharsis or to have a new perspective on the world. I'm watching it to watch the big monsters punch each other. And when they do, I'm cheering. When Mechagodzilla shows up, I'm like, oh my god, it's Mechagodzilla! Like that's what I watch those movies for. They're WWE, they're fun. But at the same time, you have like Shin Godzilla, which is brings them back to like, no, this is about nuclear warfare, and and both those movies released in a few years of each other, and both did well, and you can do both.
And you can do both. And I think that's something that people don't understand is like a lot of times when someone says horror, a lot of people's thoughts are either going straight to slasher films or torture porn films.
Yes.
And I don't think they understand that there's many different layers of horror out there.
There are.
There could be musical horror, Sweeney Todd. You can have romantic horror. You can have comical horror. You can have, oh my God, I just shit myself horror. I think that's one of the things is that you can mix horror with anything, and you can make it as simple and kid-friendly as A Nightmare Before Christmas, or as deep and as dark as your imagination will allow you to go into that hole.
It's true, and I think segue here, but I think musicals are in the same boat. I think that people, the Oscar category and the Golden Globe category as well, for best musical is a best musical / comedy slot, and musicals have occupied a space in award show. Not that award shows are the end all be all of quality, but they do speak to what the massive public interest is. Look no further than Barbie. Like that clearly was I don't think award shows are again the end all be all, but they do speak to a like, if this movie was very culturally relevant and popular this year and accepted well, it will probably be in some form in the running. Chicago, I think, is the last musical that La La Land did, but
La La Land. But yeah, I see where you went with Chicago. And if you really think about it, Chicago has quite a few horror type aspects to itself within the fact that there's a lot of murder going on in that.
It's a lot of murder. Yeah, it's a crime underbelly music, which I actually love how that movie tackles the form of the musical, the cutting between live action and the stagings, and it's really immaculately done. As someone who's seen Chicago on stage there's not a lot of that story that's actually it's more of like a series of numbers that are loosely connected by
Mhm.
implications in their stage show, which I didn't even know.
I thought them because I'm a musical fanatic.
Mhm.
I used to do stage plays back in high
Oh
school,
wow,
stuff like that. Always wanted to be either the sarcastic character like Dolly Levi, or I wanted to be the evil stepmother. And
well, that's fun.
I was heartbroken when I got the role of Cinderella one time. I was like, I don't want this role. No, I don't want it. It's no fun. Dolly Levi obviously being my favorite character to ever play in history because she's just
Well, yeah.
so her. She doesn't
Yeah.
give a she doesn't give a shit. But where was I going with this? We're talking. I obviously had seen Chicago first on stage. Found out that they were coming in and bringing it to a movie, and I'm going, how the hell are you going to do that? And I thought it was very well executed.
Yeah,
It
I
was
agree.
just brilliant. And who knew
Funny you
Richard
mentioned.
Gere could sing? I didn't know he could
Yeah,
sing. I knew he could be hot. I didn't know he could sing.
he's good. I know you mentioned Dolly Levi. Hello Dolly kind of killed, not the music, the film version kind of killed the musical for a long time. Uh, the year that came out, or around that time, you had that. You had The Music Man, which is my favorite movie of all time. If that was not obvious, um, it's a good movie. But it sort of shifted the public consciousness and again, horror sort of overtook that big spot that musicals had, and which superhero movies now occupy. They're starting to stop too, but they did for the
Oh yeah.
better part of my life, and I think that to touch on the stuff in a room conundrum. I think a little bit of interconnectivity between films was a really long way. I think maybe the reason we're starting to see sort of a dip in some quality of films is because of I guess, an emphasis on treating them as products in a line and episodes of a larger story as opposed to one cohesive film. The first Iron Man does not end with Iron Man walking into a room and there's a shield and a hammer and a bow and arrow
No.
set. Like it's, but you got Nick Fury and then Nick Fury and then Tony pops up in Hulk, even though that movie
Yeah.
doesn't count anymore.
But
And
they're little pop ups. The movie still
right,
stands alone on its own. You can watch the first Iron Man and you're good.
that's it. That's the conundrum where it is. You know,
There's two problems with movies nowadays. Everybody wants to be this connected universe, so the movie does not stand alone on its own. Or B, we're in this let's remake everything.
yeah. And again, devil's advocate, it's worked well. The Invisible Man has worked. Like that's a good, but again, remake for the sake of money versus remake for the sake of I have an interesting way to tell this story that hasn't been told before. I'm all for the latter. If if someone wants to take Hello Dolly and give us a rousing feminist take about capitalism and matchmaking, like that's cool. I would love that. Like that, I love things like that. If someone has a take on Citizen Kane where it's an action movie, that's a little less, you know, that's a little less
You
cool
all
because
start
it's
remaking Citizen Kane, we're gonna have issues from me. Okay,
yeah,
there's a problem there. But no, taking something and going, I have this. This is it. It is a remake, or like they're like it's a reboot. Okay, it's a remake.
yeah,
I don't give a shit. You're remaking something again, even if it does have a different twist to it. Which again, like you said, the Invisible Man is a brilliant way on how to do something like that.
Mhm.
Taking there's a company, I'm looking at you, you know who you are. Taking an animated 2D movie, which was absolutely fine the way that it was, and then remaking it shot for shot with really bad CGI
Mm-hmm.
is not the way to do it. And I'm sorry, but you all are a bunch of brainless people going and giving them the money that they go, let's do it again. Stop
They
it.
do make money, but they do make money.
Yeah, but
They
that's the problem.
people do see them. Like
Because
that's the
here's a really good example. I'm sure somewhere along the line you've either heard of it or you've at least seen part of it or at least seen clips of it. That Velma show that was on HBO.
yes. There's potential there. I don't like the show, but there is a the idea of a Scooby-Doo adult cartoon does not immediately perturb me.
No.
Like I
what
do.
that show did is
Yeah.
just wrong. It is racist and homophobic. I don't care if it was done by somebody that wasn't white. It still comes off very racist and homophobic, and it's disgusting. And because so many people watched it, they hate on it, it got a second season.
Yeah.
Because, see, people don't understand. The company doesn't care what your reaction to it is. The company doesn't care what your voting on it is. What all they see are the numbers, whether it's views when it comes to television or the money in the box office. And if it has the views or the money in the box office, it doesn't care how many people go, that was shit. They're going to do it again. That's how it works. That's why I always go, look, if there's something you want to see, but you don't want to give it the views, find somebody who's already watched it for you. Watch their clips. Find the clips. There's going to be different opinions. Listen to the different opinions. Listen to each of the clips. You'll see enough to be able to come up with your own interpretation.
Yeah.
And then you don't give them the view.
I agree. I think. I always have a
But
tricky time
this guy, you
critiquing.
want to give him the views. Give him the views. Trust me, the
Thank
link
you.
will be in the description.
Thank you. There are things like the Velma show where on the one hand, yeah, I do have no lack of criticisms for its pay. I did not watch all of it, so I cannot speak fully to it beyond reputation, what I've heard. But I also think, again, I'm not the biggest fan of reboots, and let's make this edgy for the sake of being edgy. And I as someone with a lot of animator friends, the state of adult animation does concern me at times, because there are great things like Inside Job is an incredible TV show. I don't know if you've heard of it or seen it, but it's great. It got canceled after 2 seasons at Netflix, annoyingly.
Dishonor.
Carol and the End of the World is a show that I just recently started watching with my girlfriend, and it's not, and it's an adult animated series, but it's not a comedy, which is not something I'm used to. It's a drama, which is very cool. Like that I haven't seen that. Other things that are in line with that, like Smiling Friends, which I watched all of yesterday. It's hilarious. Shows like that understand how to be comedic, but also have enough sincerity that I want to keep watching them. That they're not just a barrage of what's the edgiest joke we can think of.
The best cartoon I've personally seen that took something that I have known for ages, which is the Batman characters, and made it adult, would be the Harley Quinn show.
Yeah, great show.
That is so great. They really hit the relationship of Harley and Ivy so well.
Yeah.
They throw in the comedy in there, but it is made for adults, and they don't shy away from that. But it's still written well. It's not smutty. It's not overly vulgar. It's adult content in a world that a lot of us grew up in.
Yeah, it really feels like it's set in like the early 2000s DC animated universe, and like down to some of the designs and the way the characters act. Like nobody is changed to make them fit an adult setting. The characters who you would expect to act like that when allowed to do.
It's almost like they took the original Batman animated series, which was a little bit more darker, a little bit more for a more of a mature audience, and went, we can go that next step and still keep it to where it is appropriate, but it is adult.
Yeah.
You're not going to want your little kid sitting on your lap watching this, but you as an adult who grew up with this will still feel the nostalgic feel of what you grew up with it reaching into your time frame now as an adult. It's so
I agree.
done.
It's really smart, and it works. Like, and I think it's stuff like Velma. Like, and I not to be moral high horseman, but I am trying to think that life is too short to just watch a TV show to hate it.
It really is.
And so I'm I try to
I
shy
will
away from
admit,
that.
I'll admit, I gave it a view only because I'm one of the. I'm quite different from a lot of the people that I know and who I talk to, and a lot of my friends are the. This is how it was when I was a child. This is the way that it needs to be now. Like some of my friends are literally outraged because there was a clip in the '97 X-Men thing that they're doing for Disney. Where's Rogue's butt? And I'm just like,
That's
dude,
odd.
can you pay attention to the actual fact that they are continuing a story from when we were kids, bringing back the original voice actors, and the animation actually looks good?
I'm excited to see that.
And I'm just one of those people where it's like, I try to find the positive in something. So
Mhm.
I went to watch it to try to find a positive in it. And when I can't find a positive in something, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
There's something really wrong. I mean, I'm one of the few people on the face of this planet that could go, well, there's a little bit of positive in the Disney Star Wars sequels, a little bit.
I like those. I don't hate them. I think there's obviously. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Um, like
I mean,
I've watched every thing they've ever released.
I've got the Imperial symbol on my arm.
That's awesome.
There's Star Wars curtains in the background, and my
That's
gaming
amazing.
gamer tags Lady Vader 79.
That's great.
So
I am a big Lego collector as well, so that's sort of a never-ending back and forth where I will get I will get a Lego set.
he's not allowed
I
in the living room.
sorry.
You're not allowed in my living room.
Oh, you have Lego in there?
I have a whole bookcase of Legos,
That's
and
amazing.
any of the flying Legos, like my Millennium Falcon and stuff, they're put together, they're glued together, and they're hanging from fishing wire from the
Oh,
ceiling.
you craggled them.
Yeah.
That pains me.
But
Uh,
I don't want them fall. If something was to happen and the wire snaps
oh,
one
fair
day, I
enough.
don't want it to. Do you know how
I
long it was to put that Death Star together? Jesus Christ!
That's the fun of it. I actually have just got the I didn't buy the actual set because it's expensive, but I got the pieces for the Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon.
Oh,
And then I work at a one. I have 4 jobs. One of the 4 is at a secondhand Lego store, um, and I get a nice discount, and we do trade-ins for stuff. So I traded with my boss some of my sets, and I got the big Hogwarts set as well,
ooh,
which will be fun.
yeah.
At any rate, Star Wars wise, I don't know. I think that would be a tangent I will not come back from if I go on it. But I will say on the sequels that I those were the first. Well, yeah, those were the first Star Wars movies I saw in theaters. Because the only prequel that came out when I was like of the age that I could see movies when I was like 5 was Revenge of the Sith, which I was not going to be taken to at 5 years old. Star Wars is the first franchise I think it was the first piece of media I was introduced to in any capacity that wasn't like a book, because we had a PSP, PlayStation Portable with
Hmm.
with Lego Star Wars 2 on it, or Lego Star Wars, yeah, Lego Star Wars 2, and I would play that as a child, and before I saw the movies, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It was like the most I couldn't believe what was happening on the screen, and then I was like, oh, my dad was like, let's watch the movies to see if you can, maybe it'll help you play the game. And I watched the original trilogy in like a day, and I absolutely loved it. I didn't know what was going on, and I was like, how do they do this? This is amazing. And then fell in love with it, and then slowly got to the prequels, and then did not watch Revenge of the Sith for a while. And we all knew it was coming. My brother actually didn't see it until after he'd watched all of Clone Wars and like loved Anakin. And like we knew, like you
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 know,
knew, but like, oh my god, if it wasn't the saddest thing ever just to see it play out.
I still
Um,
think the Clone Wars did it better than the movies, though.
oh yeah, the Clone Wars is on another level. I just started rewatching Rebels because I don't remember any of it. um, I watched it growing up, not completely, I'm sure, not all of it, but I'm rewatching it. It's fine. It's not the Clone Wars yet. I don't. I think it gets to that level, but I'm still in the earlier seasons. But it's very much like for younger audiences. But I don't mind it. It's something to put on.
It
Uh,
still has one of the most heartbreaking scenes still in it. Have you
I
gotten to
know everything.
where Okay, so you know enough to where I don't spoil anything if I
No,
say
you're good.
something.
You're good. You're good.
That moment where Ahsoka has to fight Anakin
Yeah.
and she breaks open his mask,
My favorite.
dude, that was
It
heart
chills.
wrenching.
Yeah. My favorite thing about that, and that is one I watched growing up, but I love that she breaks one side of his mask and Obi-Wan breaks the other in the Kenobi show, and it
Mhm.
takes Luke to get the entire mask off. Um, I love Star Wars. It's very mythical, very poetic. I love how it's written. Um, a lot of people like that say the dialogue is very stilted, which it is, but like I that's part of its charm to me. Like it very much is like a play where there's no one says or everything is delivered like there's no contractions usually. It's just a very like everyone speaks very formally, just with different dialects, and it's very interesting to me.
I mean, in all honesty, even in the originals, and I know I can already hear my friends yelling at me for this. I'm a huge Star Wars fanatic. Obviously, the original trilogy, that's what I grew up with. That's what I know. I grew up with what are now called the Legends, but for me, that is my Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, Leia and Han and Luke getting married and hit and all of this. That's my Star Wars. To me, Disney's is always going to be for me a fanfic, and I'm allowed to perceive it that way because it's the way I grew up.
Yeah.
But even in the original, especially the first one, the dialogue is very stilted.
Oh yeah, that's just how George Lucas. If you watch his other movies, that's kind of
There,
just how he
there, there,
writes.
there is a reason why, as an adult, you talk to most adults, Empire is their favorite. George Lucas didn't really touch it.
Yeah, he didn't direct it. But I think, I do think that sort of odd, stilted sci-fi style that he has really like somehow intentionally or not become an icon of that film franchise to an extent where there are moments in the sequel trilogy that I will watch where I will be like, oh, this joke or this delivery doesn't feel like how something is started. And I for the record, I don't say that as one of the people who's like, oh, they shouldn't have made Ray, or whatever. Like I don't care. I think that there's
I find Rey to be a decent enough character. I do see that her biggest flaw is she is the new Disney female character that they've created, where all females are automatically perfect that they're recently doing, which I think really kind of kills the whole everyone's flawed. You have to make mistakes in order to learn. The reason why we fall, Mr. Wayne, is so we can get back up. They're missing that. But I do find her to be a great female character for young girls. I find the very first one that they did, The Force Awakens, really captivated the original feel of the original trilogy. And I would not be ashamed, even now, if I had a child, to take my child to see that, so they would have the exact same emotions and the exact same feels that I had as a child when I saw Star Wars on the big screen.
Yeah, I like I like Ray. I say I don't know if it's that she's not flawed. I think it's just that because she is she attaches her sense of identity to a legacy, but I think we lose that because then they give her a legacy, like she's a Palpatine, and like I think that's I am one of the people who thinks that while The Last Jedi is not a perfect film in any capacity, nor it's by some people's margins a good film. I think that there is enough interesting. I mean, I like that it's different. I think that every Star Wars movie, when looked at next to another one, are drastically different. A New Hope is a Flash Gordon sci-fi space adventure.
It's a space western.
Exactly. And Empire's Empire's a heist, or not heist. Empire is like a thriller, like a political thriller almost. Return is action adventure. Phantom
The
Menace.
teddy bears for kids.
Yeah, with teddy bears for kids. Phantom Menace is a like Harry Potter-esque like child becomes a wizard story. Attack of the Clones is a war movie. Revenge of the Sith is a like Shakespearean tragedy. And
Justin, you just killed me. You've got midichlorians, Harry. Oh dear God.
Yeah. Though I'll say, even though I grew up watching the prequels and the original trilogy, and I love them very much, I think the Clone Wars does a lot of heavy lifting to sort of recontextualize and, like Cody in Revenge of the Sith turning on people I didn't know who he was like before. He's just an orange, faceless clone who has a name and a throwaway line. But you know,
I
9
think the
seasons or 10
greatest,
seasons of
yeah,
that guy.
humanizing the clones made it a lot tougher when watching the Clone Wars and Order 66 became a thing, and you're just like, oh dear God, because
100%. And I think they're going to do that with the sequel trilogy. I think that's what they're aiming up to do. I think they're going to take that and do the same situation where they take a story that I agree is not like the most got a lot of problems. It does. It has a lot of stuff that I think my biggest issue is Luke kind of flippantly throwing away the lightsaber and the stuff with like threatening his nephew. I think the cool thing about Return of the Jedi, which might be my favorite, it's usually Empire, but it might be Return of the Jedi, is
see, and I can see this because as a child, Return was my favorite.
yeah, I like both. I like all of them, but in Return of the Jedi, Luke, like the whole deal with Luke is that he goes from
Whiny farm boy.
Obi-Wan and Yoda want Luke to kill Vader because they think he's too far gone. And then Palpatine obviously wants him to kill Vader so he can join him and turn the dark side. And I think Vader, at no point after Revenge of the Sith does anyone ever not forgive Vader, but tell him like, hey, are you okay? Like he never gets that. And I think that if anyone at any point, like if him and Ahsoka's duel or Obi-Wan in the Kenobi show, at any point someone was like, hey, are you all right? It would have been over for the Emperor. Like I think that's no one ever does it because everyone just assumes that Vader is fully conscious and fully complicit in it. Which again, not forgiving Vader, but he's also been tortured and manipulated by this guy. And I don't know how much of the extended books and stuff you've looked at, but like Vader's suit is designed to keep him in constant pain, which he did. And like again, it's not okay that he murdered a bunch of children and stuff, but from this guy's point of view, from Vader's point of view, he just killed his friends for the sole purpose of saving the one person he's ever loved. He was a slave. He's used to being controlled by somebody, and he's trying to just save the one person he cares about, and that person dies, and he's just like, well, I'm so far into this now, and I've already given up so much. There's no point in walking it back. I'm too far gone. He doesn't think Vader is not.
And you got to remember, a lot of people don't realize if you've only seen the movie, there have been multiple times where Vader has taken an apprentice to try to overthrow the Emperor, and it's failed.
Yeah.
So eventually, you get beaten down to that point.
And Vader too.
But I do agree with you at where the point where you were going with Luke, him attacking his nephew makes no sense because at the end of Return, he gets control of his emotions. He's past where his dad was.
And he does what he does a third thing that no one's expecting, which is he tells Vader that he loves him. And like again, immediately Luke just looking at Vader and pleading with him. Like it doesn't take anything because Vader's so prepared to be antagonized and used to it and thinks he just like Vader is not a like Killmonger. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He knows he's doing the wrong thing, and he thinks that's what he deserves is to be hated. And Luke won't hate him, and it's that's all.
I've always wanted someone to rewrite the scene where Vader's like, sister, you have a sister. Well, if you don't, maybe we'll go after her, and just have Luke start laughing and going, really? Dad, it's Leia. Okay, you've been torturing her whole life. If she didn't fall yet, she ain't falling now. So good luck. Good luck on that one, Dad. Like that would have been like the funniest thing in the world is for Vader to be like, wait, your sister, who? Wait, what? Like that would be like the greatest scene of all time because you could already see the look on his face underneath that mask. Like,
yeah.
Ah, shit. I mean, like the greatest thing.
It would be.
But how much of the extended universe, which they call Legends, how much of that do you know?
Good amount. I read the books growing up.
Okay, so you did read.
And the Thrawn stuff and Glove of Darth Vader and all that.
Oh my God. And here's where I find it funny is a lot of people go, "Oh, well, Disney ruined it." Does everybody realize that
Yeah,
Lucas was going to ruin it
it
too?
wasn't great. He wanted to do a microscopic story about midichlorians, the wills and
He
and
was gonna he was still gonna have Leia as the main, because even in the extended edition, the extended, Leia comes out, you find out she's really stronger than Luke. She always has been, she always will be. Even in the books between, there's a book, if you haven't read it, called Splinter the Mind's
yeah,
Eye.
I have on
Oh
my
my
bookshelf.
god. That scene where she picks up Luke's lightsaber and stands between him and Vader, and she's like, I will do this. I don't give a shit. You're
And there
just like,
is, as you say, like, there's good stuff in there. Genuinely, like Thrawn's amazing. Like
Thrawn
I love
is
this stuff. But then you also have, the Emperor has a son named named Trioculus, who's got a third eye and force lightning. But the interesting thing is, oh, he's not actually the Emperor's son. He's using technology to appear like he has the Force. But then
right.
it's like, oh, but then you're like, oh, actually, the Emperor does also have a real son who also has a third eye, who's named Triclops, and is a slave. And it's just weird. And like, Chewie gets killed by a moon, and
Look, I'm not saying everything is perfect. The only thing that, and I can see why a lot of fans, and even I have a problem with this sometimes, is when you have someone that's working on these new Star Wars movies and they go, "Well, we had nothing to take to base our stories off of," and I'm going, "But you took this, and this from it. So you've obviously read enough to know what you wanted to take from it.
Mm,
Don't lie."
maybe like, I'm not sure. I haven't really gone too deep into like the. I'm one of the people with Star Wars who's just sort of I like everything they make, and I will just watch it and enjoy it. Like I'm not. I don't know. I try to be like
I
critical and
so When it comes to the sequels, I'll just put it out there. I love the first one. I love The Force Awakens. I like the ideas behind the second one. I'm not a fan of the third one. It feels very disconjointed.
I agree.
It makes it feel like it's not a full trilogy, and then having to add her back as a Palpatine just kind of ruined
Yeah,
the entire second movie.
it felt like someone read a comment section of complaints from the last one and we're like, let's fix all of it.
The
And
the
it
the best thing that I've heard, and the best thing that I can agree with, is it isn't just the people who created the movie's fault. The fans are to be just as much to blame for the fall of this sequel as the people who created it, because you wanted a Star Wars movie. They gave you a Star Wars movie in The Force Awakens. You complained it was too much like the original. So they brought in another director, they changed everything up, and then you complained it wasn't enough like the original trilogy for them to go right back to the another storyboard and bring it back the exact same thing that already happened.
Yeah,
The
that's a good
fans
point.
are just to the blame as it is the people who created it. If you would have just stuck to your guns and made the movie that you wanted, no matter in unfortunately in our society, no matter what we do, whether it's being content creators, making ARGs, making movies, making there's always going to be people that are just never going to be happy.
Yeah,
They're never going to be happy. They're always going to hate it. They're always going to complain. It's like it's their mission in life now. And I will say it's gotten a lot worse over the years because of the pandemic, because everybody ran to the internet and it's like, look, I can say all this shit without any consequences. And it's like, ooh, that's bad.
I agree. And I think there's stuff in that in The Force Awakens that sets up very interesting. I love the idea of Finn being a stormtrooper and turning into a Jedi. I think
That's brilliant.
that's a great story. I think the idea of Rey being a person who is in this universe where these big names like Skywalker and Palpatine and really wants to be connected to a legacy but isn't and realizes that's okay. Like there's good potential, and I will agree that there are things that didn't play out in the fashion that I would have expected them to play out, and some stuff that was disappointing. But I also think the prequels have a lot of that, and I think that those got made better retroactively, and I think we will see with whatever stuff Dave Filoni is doing now a lead into the sequels that makes them more enjoyable for people.
I
See,
think I
and
found
again,
I think I found my new movie buff that I need to start bringing onto my shows to talk about these things, because I really do like having a person that has a slightly different opinion than me, but it isn't to the point where you try to make me feel like I'm wrong for my opinions, and I like
Well,
that
sure.
about you.
It's an opinion, and like
I like
you
that
know,
about you.
thank you. In
Which
terms of
I do like the fact that we've gone on these little tangents, and
yes,
I
I was
brought
going
you
to
here to
ask.
talk about your ARG.
Do you have any questions about Phobos?
One, am I getting a third chapter?
Maybe. I don't really know.
Okay, that's the end of Justin. Everybody say goodbye. Maybe it's not the right answer.
There's a story that I had in mind. I think that it would be tricky to make it accessible. You have to go through the first season and understand all those clues that's going on there to understand the second season, and then you have to do both of those seasons to understand a third one. And I don't know that there's enough of a audience, or nor that I have enough of a vested interest in telling that story that way. And I wonder if there's a different way to do it. I will say that I'm in early stages of adapting the first, not even the same story, but the concept of Phobos and the character of Jonathan, and some of the ideas and themes that weren't as explicit, into its stage show. That's something I've been working on. I have written a few musicals, original musicals. One was the first big one was Dreamy Drive, which is a short film with 4 original songs. That's on my channel as well. Burnout,
which we will be covering on this channel.
Ooh,
So make sure that
please
you watch.
Please do. I will. I will check that out.
You have found out that I'm like one of your biggest fans at this point, right?
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Dreamy Drive was incredible, and it was, without giving away plot details, it was a film that I made last year, so as a freshman in college. Somehow with like a 50-person crew and cast, which was unbelievable to do as a freshman, and some wonderful composers and actors and craftsmen, and we have built a really cool set and
You
great
got a
camera
comment.
people.
Stage show would be an appropriate adaptation.
Say that again.
Fuel the Hatred just said a stage show would be an appropriate adaptation.
Yeah, so I see Phobos as a musical in some capacity. And it's lofty, but I want to do a staging of it. I've since Phobos, Dreamy Drive was the next big thing I did. I've done a smattering of other short films that are up that if you want to do a binge, I won't stop you. They're really fun.
I will totally.
And they're probably all the short films on my channel are like a collective 40 minutes, I'm sure. And again, Dreamy Drive, because of, feel free to use the music. There's no copyright on it. So, I mean, there is, but it's under my name. So.
I absolutely love and adore the fact that you've obviously saw some of my reactions, because you came back with a message. This one doesn't have any copyright music. Like, you noted, you saw that I was having a few issues with that, which was fine.
You were not the only one.
Which is fine. Yeah, which I have noticed as I've been going longer and through this. When I would try to go find thumbnails, I see more and more people reacting to your stuff. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm really, flattered. I never expected it.
Like I said, I think this series was absolutely brilliant. And
thank you.
When you first approached me, the very first thing I went and did was like, well, let's see how many views this thing had. Holy shit. Look at this guy's subscriber count. Look how many views he's getting. He's got comments on his videos. I was like, okay, I can do this. And I did not expect yes, Fuel. We actually talked about that. Also, that guy sees that you had a set of pipes. He actually is the lead singer in a band. What was the band called again?
It's called Small Town Titans.
Small Town Titans. We got to look that up.
They did a heavy metal cover of the Grinch song a few years ago. That was really good.
Yeah, but hold on. You realize I'm looking this up.
Oh, they're great.
Oh my god.
He's got a very gravelly, very cool sounding voice. And obviously, he did a little different one for the character, but he's good.
I found him.
Yeah, you're good.
Since he promoted it, we're gonna copy that. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that up in the.
Oh yeah, and for the record, I'm not affiliated with them, nor we just worked on this. But
this is a video right here. There's the link. Small Town Titans. You're
just recommended it.
Gotta check it out.
Just recommended it. It's good.
Yeah, but that's one of the things though, is when you collaborate with people, even if you're not fully affiliated with them, when you do stuff with them, you always give them the shout outs.
For sure.
That's how we build these communities and friendships, and we get to go further into things and get to do stuff.
I agree. something that I enjoyed doing was sorry, I'm
You're
doing
fine.
what was I talking about? Oh, since Phobos, Dreamy Drive was really cool. It is sort of a Jim Henson Muppet inspired short horror film. Another one of my big favorites, The Muppets. That was a blast. I got to build puppets, and we got to build a set, and had some great music, and I got to learn to write songs. Great performers, great story. It was so fun. Following that, I did a short film called Burnout. Well, I did a short experimental film that we shot at Disneyland, which I recommend highly, called After All. And then I did what's it called? Burnout, which is another short film, sort of set in like a 1920s animation studio, with rubber hose characters and some Roger Rabbit style out of the inkwell combination between live action and animation, which was really fun, and is very relatable to anyone in any kind of creative industry whatsoever. Now I am working on quite a few plays for the stage. I have a one act that I'm working on, a one act straight play that's going to be starting to be workshopped this week. I have an original musical, a couple. There's a short one about, I don't know if you've ever heard of Balloon Fest.
Mm-hmm.
It's about Balloon Fest and legacy and Shakespeare. It's sort of a piece about how we sensationalize the past, and it's funny. And we have a great composer named Thomas Webster. And then so that's nearing rehearsal ready stages. I don't know when it will happen or to what capacity it will happen, but I've written a full length horror musical that's sort of a Lovecraft take on the old Rankin Bass Christmas specials.
Oh dear God.
It's an adaptation of From Beyond, an old Lovecraft story, but it is sort of aware of Lovecraft and is very critical of how some of his, being a horrible guy sort of influenced his writing and how that influenced horror as a whole, and tries to break from that a little bit. I'm very proud of that one. It's very funny. Basically,
No, we don't know Lovecraftian at all around here.
Oh, that's perfect. One of our the concept on that one is that a group of scientists create a machine and accidentally discover Christmas, and because they have no context for it, are completely horrified by all of the adorable Christmas creatures, and sort of wage a war on them. And then I'm doing the hope is to do some rendition of Phobos, some version of that, which will be exciting. From Beyond, the Christmas musical, even better.
Oh, yeah.
The title is From Beyond, a Very Merry Cosmic Horror.
You know what's funny though is I can actually see Jonathan C. Eldridge being a podcaster.
Yeah, I'll never do a podcast. Well, I don't know. My girlfriend wants to do a podcast, so maybe I'll do a podcast. But and that's a fitting voice. He has a good voice. I do like his voice. I don't do it very much anymore because I haven't had a chance to do it in a while. I will sort of catch myself slipping into the transatlantic accent. Whenever I say Temecula, California, which is the town I'm from, I say it how he says it. So, Temecula, California.
Lovely. Applause, everybody. I didn't know if I was going to ever get Jonathan C. Eldridge on the show, but
that's
now
how he
I
speaks.
did.
There's a line where he says, "My neighborhood dog." Like that's how your neighborhood dog, and that's just like. I love the transatlantic accent because it's fun fact. It's not a real accent. No one ever had that accent. It's just a voice that people did for film. Like it's a faux British accent. It sounds weird. Speaking of Star Wars, full circle.
But it works for him.
Carrie Fisher does it in one scene where she's talking to Tarkin.
Yeah, she slips in and out of the accent, and it's the funniest thing.
She said that it's because she was nervous to be working with Peter Cushing, but it's been like recontextualized in like one of the novels that she's like mocking him, which I think is really funny.
I do like that. That is funny. But yes, she did it, and bless her, she was amazing as that character.
Amazing.
Did you? I got to meet her a few times because
that's amazing.
Well, I actually work in the comic book industry. I actually run
Oh.
2 comic book shows outside of doing what I do.
That's funny.
here.
My dad does the same thing, or he works in comics. He's a writer and illustrator.
What is he? Who does is he independent or does he work for one of the major companies?
He works for Image a lot. His name's Marco Finnegan. He did
I
a
know
book
who.
called. Yeah, people have said that. He's great. He does the James Bond comics. He's a very talented guy. And Lizard in a Suit is his book, and he's doing a new one soon. He's awesome.
So what I do is I get my boss to get your dad to come to my shows so that he can come. You don't understand how. You don't understand. I am the showrunner. I take care of everything.
That's awesome.
So, when would you like to come to Ohio? No. They're like, hey, I know this guy, and I want him.
He's great. He's really talented. But no,
Now you can tell your dad, one of your fans is now one of my fans. So this
That's
is
funny.
fabulous.
Yeah, growing up with creative people was always very fulfilling.
It is. It's amazing. And like I said, I cannot thank you enough for reaching out to me and bringing me into this world and letting me see. Like I mean, I've told you in messages and many things like that. And you've been so very humble. First off, which is amazing because someone like you should have like this ginormous head, which I know you have in a certain character, but you are brilliant. You really are.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm brilliant, but I appreciate that. Thank
I
you.
think you're brilliant.
Thank you.
I think the whole Phobos ARG was brilliant. It was a lot of fun. You made me do so much investigating and so much double thinking. And like I told you, I instantly fell in love with Jonathan C. Eldridge. The Yule Log Christmas special that we did, I was intrigued, terrified, but still couldn't look away, all at the same time.
I appreciate you watching that. Most people do not. Thank you.
Well, one, you're waiting to see if he does anything. But you're also it's definitely one of those things for someone like me. I put it up on the TV as like, you know how like people put like the fire pits up on their
Yeah,
television?
that was
I
the.
would put that freaked her out so much. Thanks, Fuel. I was waiting for him to do something. And it's like that would be one of those things that the little nerd in me, that would be my fire pit background for Christmas on the television.
Well, thank you. It was fun to make. Not a pain to export. As I said, this was all on a phone, including the second chapter. It was all shot and edited on a phone, which was very time
I would have
consuming.
known it was done on a phone.
Well, that's good. I'm glad it isn't apparent.
No, it's look. I'm not a filmmaker. I don't know anything about filmmaking. I've always been I'm a voice. I'm a character. I'm an actor. And yes, I still use the form actor because I grew up where it was male actor, female actor. Actor itself was a word. The word actress really wasn't a word yet.
Sure.
So I've always been the actor. I'm not the person behind the camera. I can go, hey, can you do this? That would be cool. Just don't ask me to implement it because you're lucky I could turn on a PC.
Yeah, it's a lot of technical stuff that I wasn't expecting. As mentioned before, coding that game was a nightmare. But I had fun with it. I'm trying to do stuff more, trying to learn more stuff. I'm in the film program here, so I'm shooting a film tomorrow actually. So shooting it's just a fun little 2-minute not horror piece that I've never done before. I've never not done anything that's big and kind of high concept, so it'll be fun to do something that I wrote a little, just a short little project about a small little love story. So that'll be up at some point.
But if you end up not doing this, obviously you're still gonna have a passion. You're still gonna be bringing stuff out onto YouTube, so we're still gonna get to see a lot more of you.
Of course.
And of course, obviously, I know you're on Instagram. I found that you're on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter. Oh, I am. I don't use it.
You don't do much on Twitter, but you are on Twitter.
I found on occasion.
Because I tagged you.
That is me. It's not a fake account. I haven't been on there in a while. I know you mean X.
Everything that I found you under was obviously at Time Industries.
Yes, that's the best name. to find me under, rather.
That's why. Did you see the thumbnail that I made for you for this?
I did. I just saw it. You used the horrifying picture of me, which I love. That's a good
I
picture.
used a horrifying picture, and then I put the Time Industries logo on there for you, and then of course I had to put the Phobos logo somewhere on there, and then
Yes,
I
thank
had
you.
to. But yeah, please never give this up, because you may not think you're brilliant, but I do. And my opinion is the one that matters. So, no.
Thank you. I prefer the word hero to the artistic industry, but thank you.
Okay, you are a hero to the
I'm kidding.
artistic
Thank you.
industry. I just think that I love the fact that you have a passion, and even when there's something like, okay, I want to do this video game. Oh my God, this is a nightmare, but I'm still having fun doing it. And at the end of the day, it ended up working out really well for you.
Thank you.
Plus,
I
I didn't know how to open up a zip file, so I learned how to do that because of you.
well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
works.
Amanda's old. So, remember, Amanda's first game system was an Atari 2600. So,
That's cool.
She's been around a while.
My
The
first
gray
game
hairs should
system,
give that away.
as mentioned, was a PSP, and then we had a Sega Genesis.
Oh my God. Could you imagine a Sega Genesis being my first console? Oh my God. Oh, I hate it when my dog does that. That's so creepy. She's undertaking right now. Her eyes roll into the back of her head like the Undertaker when she sleeps.
It's funny.
I figured you would get that since you did say WWE, so it sounds like you at least.
Yeah. On occasion.
On occasion. I used to be huge into it back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it sounds like you've got your hands full doing more videos and stuff like that. And I can't wait. The thumbnail, that creepy Mickey Mouse look that you did for your Burnout
yeah.
animation horror short film looks amazing. Like, and obviously I want to be able to do a few of them because you have the Dreamy Drive,
Yes.
Burnout. There's After All. Like, I've looked at your stuff. Like, it wasn't just, I didn't just go straight to Phobos. I went to Time Industries. I looked at videos. I went through your playlists.
And if you go very far back, there's some old cringe.
Your containment tapes.
Yeah. They're fine. They're fine. I don't dislike them. They were mostly just me with a VHS filter looking at the animatronics I made. My favorites are always going to be Burnout, Dreamy Drive. I really like After All. Phobos, obviously. Nearsighted was really fun because I did it with my siblings. And then I think Hand Reveal is funny. I don't know if anyone else thinks it's funny. I think it's funny. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff out there.
Yeah, there's because you had a Five Nights at Freddy's one that you did, Lefty Lucy.
I did. I also like that one.
My favorite title though of any of your videos is Justercise, a definitely not satanic exercise video.
Yeah. That's just that's one of the Phobos videos. It's the exercise.
I know it is,
I love
but
the
it's
title.
still funny. It's such a great title. It really
Thank you.
is. So yes, obviously I'll be covering more of your stuff, whether it's the good, the bad, the early. One, it gives people an idea of where you started, how you've grown, where you're going. And I do want to make sure that you get, because I love the work that you've done. I want to make sure that people really get to see what you've done and appreciate as much as I've appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. I really do appreciate it.
Yes, you'll still got a few weeks left to season 3, plenty time to cover it. Very true. Very, very true. So yes, thank you so much again for reaching out to me and introducing me to this world, because it was amazing.
Of course, there's plenty of other great stuff out there that I will recommend at your leisure. There's great stuff.
Plus, now you got me liking a new band, because I got to go check out this guy, because come on now.
They're good.
So, you got musicals, you got movies. I got a maybe for a chapter 3. If not, poor Timothy is just gone forever. We'll never see him again. Poor Timothy, he be bye-byed. He just
I don't know. I don't know that there's anything out right now that does tie into it, but everything I make has a tie back to Phobos. Nothing big, but there are connections there that you will see. So make of that what you will. Like I have.
This is the multiverse you've been waiting for.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm doing stuff in a room, but there is, there's Easton character. There's the Easton family will pop up in a lot of the stuff I'm writing, and sort of where it won't explicitly be, oh, this is Phobos 3 or this is connected Phobos, but there's stuff that will tie into it that will be, oh, I remember that character from this thing, or I remember, I've always liked the thought of that. So yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing more from you. Someday maybe I'll see some more of my Jonathan, my new obsession, because that's again such a great character. Such a great character. He's creepy and enticing, and you can't look away from him. You just can't. He's amazing, and you did an amazing job on that outfit. So kudos to you.
Thank
And
you.
like I said, guys, if you need to find this guy, let me help you out right now. One, find him on YouTube. Check out everything that he has. Right here, we're going to go, bam, and Time Industries. That's the YouTube link right there. Obviously, all the links will be in the description of the video, both on YouTube and over on Twitch. And you can also find them over at Time Industries over on Instagram and over on Twitter. And is there anything else you want to add before we end today?
Oh man, I don't have anything to plug that's going to be out anytime soon. So I will say, everybody go watch the new Epic Rap Battles of History video because they need the views, not me.
Okay. He needs the views too, so make sure, because Burnout Animation Horror Short Film, you can check it out now, or you can wait for us to do it. But I'm telling you guys, this is the guy you want to watch out for. He knows his musicals, he knows his ABBA, and the moment he brought out puppets instantly reminded me of Wilkins Coffee.
Yep.
Which was terrifying. Those commercials are terrifying. Kermit the Frog is terrifying in those. Drake Wilkins, or you're going to die.
I do have a Kermit. I did build a Kermit puppet. He isn't here. Otherwise, I'd pull him out.
I don't know how many times we watch it and I'll be like, there's one of those creepy puppets. There's the puppet. There's the puppet.
I love the puppets. My brother made that puppet, actually.
Oh. And then like the Sesame Street one that you did, I
did make those. Those were funny.
Brilliant. That was great. That was absolutely brilliant. So yes, guys, please go check out my buddy Justin. He's absolutely amazing. Make sure that you follow him on all of the social media that he's on, so you always stay updated with what he's doing. And of course, you can always check back here because we're going to cover more and more of his stuff. And we just say thank you so much, Justin, for introducing AGP and the AGPers to Phobos and what an ARG is, and the amazing times that we've had.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you are more than welcome. On that note, everybody, it is time to go. I already heard him yawning, so either A, he's getting possessed, or B, he's tired. One of the two. Which one is it, though? You'll have to always tune in next time to find out. And I have a feeling Justin will be on this channel and many more things with AGP in the future, because I really enjoy having these conversations. I really enjoyed the conversation we had today.
Thank you.
I really did. On that note, guys, don't forget you can check out more of AGP. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, and Twitch. And on that note, and Justin, you don't have to leave when the show's over if you wanted to chit-chat after. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye, everybody.
Adios. Vaya con Dios.